with another video, and this week's really exciting because I am using my TBR jar to pick out the books I'm reading for the week. I'm so excited for this. I had a lot of fun picking the books and making them and everything. They're only books that I actually own, so these are all physical books on my shelves that I have not read, and I'm going to pick I'm hoping that I could read 4 books this week, 5 if we get really lucky. So I'm gonna pick one from here. If it's a series and it's the middle of a series and I had started the books before, I might not choose them because I want to start from the beginning if it's been too long, but we'll see. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Let's just pick a book for the first book of the week. I have to pour it because my hand's too small to really do this properly, so. Ooh. So in this case, this is the middle of the series. It's called the Cinder, the Lunar Chronicles series. So instead of reading this one, I'm gonna read Cinder because I've never read the first book, so that's really exciting. I'm gonna look for Cinder while I put this back. And boom, first book of the week is Cinder. So I will update you guys as I'm reading it this week, and I'm really excited to start a new series. Maybe it's a fantasy series that I'll like. It's been around for a while, so we'll see how that goes. It's the end of the night, and I wanted to just come on here because I was in a rush in the last clip. I was trying to get to work, and picking the book was like a big rush thing, so I'm happy I get to actually now curl up and start this book. This is a YA series. This is the Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. And from what I've gathered, every book follows a different Disney princess, but it's like a retelling of that story. So these are sci-fi books, I believe. I think all of them are sci-fi books. But this first book, Cinder, is Cinderella. It's this whole she's a cyborg, there's a prince, it's a sci-fi book, maybe a little dystopian, I don't really know. It seems like there's some sort of situation and there's fights, and she is this special cyborg who is going to be a big deal in the situation, in the war or whatever that's going on. And honestly, you guys, I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, and I got this series for free through doing Bookstagram stuff. I remember a couple years ago I got this series with really no intention of reading it anytime soon, and I don't think I would have picked it up if it weren't for that jar. So I'm really excited for what the jar has in store next, especially if it's a series that I haven't started yet, because for the ones that I have started, it's I have to start from the beginning because I always forget books after after a week, but after a year of not reading that story. So it's fun that I got a book in this series because I get to actually start a new series, and it's fun. I'm excited. I'm going to get ready for bed. I hope I can finish it tonight because I'm really trying to read 1 book a day, but I have to wake up early tomorrow, and I don't know what it's gonna look like if I have to wake up and I'm not ready to. So maybe it'll be a fast-paced read. It has really good reviews. Maybe it'll surprise me, but it's a genre I'm not normally into, so we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna get ready for bed. I'm not gonna read in the bed. I'm gonna read in my little nook right here on the floor, and maybe it'll keep me up long enough, just like when I did the 24-hour readathon. Maybe it'll keep me long enough to just finish the book and see what happens. Guys, it is 1:30 a.m. and I finished Cinder. Oh my gosh. This is fantastic. I don't know where people have been with this. I know there's a fandom. I know the ratings on these books are really high. I've only heard a couple of little details about it, but I've never heard anybody rave about it. And I'm really confused because this was really good. And this is coming from someone who doesn't always get behind the fantasy and the science fiction and the new world and all of these things. But I literally couldn't put it down. I gave it 4.5. It was just really good. And like, I actually want to read the other books in the series. So I wouldn't be mad if I pick out one of the other books, because this was actually really captivating. And it just wasn't at all what I expected. I expected to be bored, but I never really got bored. Some parts were a little slow, but like very minimal. So basically it follows Cinder. She is a cyborg, and when she turned 11, she got an operation. There was an accident. She was a human before, but then she had to get some new parts, and so she's a cyborg. And this guy, this like a researcher guy, took her in from Europe where she was living and brought her back to where they were. And then he died, and so she was left with the stepmother and these two girls. So it basically follows her. She's a mechanic, and she basically has to like, there's actually so much that happens in this book, but there's a disease going on throughout the country. There's also a war between the Earthens, which is kind of like the humans like us, and the Luna, like the people in Luna, which is another land. And so like there's a lot of secrets. She's very involved in it because she's helping the prince with something, and then they take her in for testing to see if she will respond well to the antidote they're working on for the disease going on. Like there's just a lot happening, but it's not chaotic at all. It's just like perfect, very entertaining, very interesting. And even with like, there's like very minimal romance. It's like so minimal, not that big in the story, but it's still pretty cute. And like, I like that they kept it out of the way. I have like no words. I guess I didn't really expect to like it, but I really liked it, and I really want to read the next book. But I really want to pick the next book right now, even though it's the middle of the night. But instead of letting my bias take control of picking tomorrow or picking now, I'm gonna do like a little wheel of names, the wheel spinner thing online, and we'll see what it comes up with. If it says we're picking now, I'm just gonna pick it right now and read it tomorrow morning or this morning. But if not, I will pick it later when the sun is up and the lighting isn't weird. Okay, I have the spinner. No. What it said. What did it say? We're picking right now. Sorry I have to be so quiet, but people are sleeping and I don't want to wake them up. So hopefully I can adjust the volume in post, but if not, I will do like captions or something. I don't even know. But I'm picking the next book now. I'm really excited. Okay, so I picked a book from the School for Good and Evil, but this is an example of a series where I read the first 3 books years ago and I never continued it. So I don't want to do this one because I would want to read the first 3 books again. So I'm going to take this out, save it for like a future month, and like do it then, because it wouldn't make sense for the week timeline to do it now. So I guess I gotta pick again. Oh my gosh, really interesting. I'm reading a classic. It's Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. This is a very popular book. I've been wanting to go through my classics, so this is fun. I'm gonna pick it out of the shelf right now, put back Cinder, my heart, my love, a book I never thought I would love this much, and we will start Wuthering Heights tomorrow. All right, guys, so I am gonna be reading Wuthering Heights tonight. As you can see so far, I'm only reading at night because during the day, I'm always doing something. I'm so busy, but this is one of those books that's deceivingly long. I know it. It's 300 and something pages. It's shorter than the last book, but the text is a little bit smaller, so it might actually be longer. So I think I'm going to update at the halfway mark just to stay motivated. I actually want to finish it in one sitting, but I've never successfully done that with a classic. So we'll see. This will be a challenge for me. I'm getting mixed reviews online, which I shouldn't have looked online. I hate doing that. But I just wanted to look for the blurb, and then I see the rating, and then I'm like, why is it that rating? And then I just go and check. We'll see what happens. It seems like it'll be interesting. It'll be up my alley in terms of the plot. But sometimes the classic writing style is a hit or miss, so we'll see how I feel about it. But yeah, I will update at the halfway mark, which will probably be in a couple of hours. I'm just talking right now because I had the time. But yeah. Okay, so I wanted to do a little update because it's actually the next day and it's the evening. But you guys, I don't know. I don't want the week to go by and I haven't picked more than like 3 or 4 books. So I just have to say, I'm a couple chapters in. I couldn't read it in one sitting. I was bored. I feel like the stupidest person ever when I read classics because I can never just read it. I have to have an audiobook. I have to have something telling me what, because like I just get lost in the language and then I'm just like a little bit bored. My eyes are glazing, and that's exactly what happened last night. So I've been listening to the audiobook, but the thing with audiobooks is that they don't ever speak as quickly as I read. So it just takes too long. And I just feel like I just don't want to waste time with this one. So what we're going to do is I'm going to try listening to the halfway point. At the halfway point, if I'm still like not feeling it, DNF. This will be a DNF book and then I will pick something else. But I just don't think I don't think I'm going to want to finish it. Like the plot's interesting. It's like this guy is at Wuthering Heights, this home, and then the landlord has a past, and so the housekeeper is telling the guy who moved in about the past, and it's this girl. Her dad took in a foster boy, and then they are kind of like falling for each other, but her actual older brother is jealous of the whole situation. So there's a little bit of drama there, and the boy is like poorer. He's not like as like the rest of them. So there's just a lot of plot there, and I just feel like the writing for me, like the classic writing for me, is just not always doing it, and I can't always like really digest it, and I feel really dumb, but that's just how it is for me a lot of the time. So we'll see how well I can, listen to the halfway point through audio, and then I'm probably just gonna start a next book because it's just too long of a book and I'm not intrigued enough. And another thing is that this year my goal is to really be okay with DNFing books because I want to do it enough that I actually read more and not waste my time. And I think I'm always nervous that if I DNF, I'm wasting my time. But if I push through it, I feel like I'm really wasting my time in terms of enjoyment. So that's just kind of how I'm feeling. I think it'll be great to just get comfortable, do something fun. I wish I had adult coloring books, but I don't have any right now. It would have been nice to do that and listen, but I will try to, listen to the halfway mark or like close to the halfway mark and just see how I'm feeling on audio. Okay guys, so here's what I decided. I decided to pick another book and just keep listening to this because I feel like it wouldn't count if I'm reading it physically and reading another book physically. I can listen to it when I do work tomorrow and the day after if I need, but I really just want to read something else because I feel like I'm going to get into a slump, and it's going to be Thursday in a couple of minutes. So I feel like I'm not going to make the best use of the week if the week's almost over and I haven't read something else. So yeah, that's the plan. I'm about halfway through this book actually, not fully, more like 45% because there's a volume 1 and a volume 2 and it's not split evenly, but I'm still almost halfway through. And the plot is interesting, but again, it's just the language and I need an audiobook and it just takes me a while to get through an audiobook. So let's just pick something new. I'm excited, but I'm also nervous because what if I get another classic? I can't do that. Also, it's late again and I don't want to wake up the house, but let's pick something else. Red Queen. I've been wanting to read this for the longest time. It's basically just like Cinder. It's a fantasy book that I've put off for years and years, and this is kind of fun. I'm really excited. And it's also the first book in a series, so it's kind of perfect. Yeah, this feels right. This will be a good balance out for the classic book that I'm reading. Yeah, I will update you guys tomorrow morning. Okay, so it's the next day and I actually just finished Red Queen. It's the middle of the day and I just didn't want to read it tonight because I was already falling asleep last night trying to start it. And it was a 3-star. It wasn't anything to write home about. I guess I'm a little bit disappointed just because every time I pick a new book, I get so excited. I'm like, ooh, I've been wanting to read this. And it's like the bar was so high with Cinder that now every time there's a new book, I'm like, I wish it was like Cinder. But it was fine. It's very similar to Cinder and Powerless by Lauren Roberts and like books in that genre of YA fantasy where there's one person, there's brothers, there's a kingdom, some people are human, some people are not human, and then there's a rebellion because the not human people are being discriminated against. And that's basically this, because the main character is red blood and red blood is like human, and then the silver blooded people are the people with powers. And so there's a whole rebellion thing going on, and that's a common trope I'm noticing, and I just feel like it wasn't done the best in this case. It was really boring even though things were happening, so I guess the characters weren't compelling enough for me. So I was a little bit disappointed by that, and the last 15% was great. I was like, ooh, like this is not what I expected. There was a little bit of a twist and there was just a lot of things going on. But again, it just felt very similar to every other fantasy book I've been reading and liked. But even though it came out before books like Powerless, I feel like it was done weaker. So even though there's like a lot of books in the Red Queen series, I'm probably not going to continue it because it was just like a one moment thing. I just feel like it's gonna drag on based on what I'm seeing. I just don't understand how the series can be this long. That's what I like about Lauren Roberts' book, is that she's only making it a trilogy, but the Red Queen series is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5, and then there's like 2 other books. So that's just too many for me. So I'm going to say goodbye to that. Let's pick something else because I will be listening to Wuthering Heights for the rest of the day while I'm doing work, but I still want to pick the next physical book. And I found a little bit of a better basket to do it in because I feel like the box from before was too wide, and this will make it a little more even. So hopefully I get a new genre or a book I'm excited about, because there's a lot of fantasy in here and fantasy can wear me out really easily. So let's see what happens. There's no way. I picked another classic, y'all. It looks like another classic, Sense and Sensibility. Well, we will be reading it because it's what I picked, but that means it's just gonna take me a little bit longer, and I'm gonna try to finish Wuthering Heights today, and then I might do the same thing with Sense and Sensibility. I'll pick something else and maybe make that the last book of the video, but we'll see, because with classics, I feel like the audiobook and then reading something physical will work for this video instead of just trying to push through a classic that is really hard for me to get through. But yeah, this feels like a sign that I need to just finish out my classic TBR. Let's do it. Guys, pray for me. Sorry that the lighting is bad. But I just wanted to come on here and say that I actually finished Wuthering Heights. Everybody clap for me, please. Honestly, after all the fuss, I would read it again. Like, it's kind of good. I gave it a 3.75 just because it was a drag in the beginning, and it just felt like it was just so long. Like, it just felt like it kept dragging. There was more and more story, and that's okay. It just isn't always for me. But the plot was actually juicy and chaotic and crazy, and I like that. So I was okay with that. I was basically just in my bed playing the sandbox game. So that's like the color by number. And then I was wearing these blue light glasses I just got. Yeah, I was wearing these, and I was just listening to the audiobook. And that was fine. I was doing that while also reading each chapter summary because I just couldn't process this type of story. It's a classic, and normally I need more aid to actually process it. And I wasn't saying before that audiobooks were dumb or you're dumb if you listen to audiobooks. That's really not at all what I meant. But I realized that it sounded like that. It's not what I meant. I just meant that I feel like the fact that it's my only resort and that I can't read the physical book and it's just because I don't understand the language, I'm kind of embarrassed by that. But audiobooks are great. I would listen to them any day if I had the time and I didn't want to watch like TV and movies and stuff and make that my background. But yeah, audiobooks are great. I'm not shaming anybody. I just had trouble with this book and I felt like the only thing I could do was listen to the audio. But yeah, this was just, it was a book about this estate and the families that are living there, and it's really all about Heathcliff, who is a character in the book. He's a little poorer. He's taken in by the family living at the estate, and a lot of people don't like him because of his lack of wealth. And of course there's romance. There's a lot of romance in this in terms of multiple couples or multiple marriages and multiple like kids, new generations, and it's just all over the place. And there's also a lot of death. I don't want to spoil too much, but that's just kind of what you would expect in a tragedy. And yeah, it was just all interesting. I like that the perspective was told by the housekeeper living there and that she was able to see so many people growing up. So it's kind of cool. I didn't really care for Mr. Lockwood. He wasn't really a main character, but he was the person in the present day. And then all these other characters were from the past and then some coming back to the present. So there's just a lot going on in the book, but it was kind of nice and kind of cozy reading it while playing the coloring game and, you know, chilling a little bit. So I think I originally said I didn't want to read another book after Sense and Sensibility, but I realized that I technically started my first book on Monday, January 13th. So the full week will be on Monday again. I'll stop reading on Monday, and I feel like that extra day will give me the chance to, you know, just read another book. So I'm gonna pick up one more book. Hopefully it's good, hopefully it's not a classic, and I don't know. Honestly, I get a thrill out of just picking books from this because it's so fun, they're so cute. It's just like a little lottery. So I think that's what's going on here. But yeah, I'm curious to see what this last book will be, and I will tell you guys my thoughts, updates on the classic, and then whatever this book is. So for the final time, let's do it again. I think I'm not gonna necessarily just pick from the middle. I keep picking from the middle, but I think I'm gonna just do what feels right. Guys, I'm kind of scared. Okay, so I picked up Prom Chanted by Morgan Matson, and this is just like a cute little YA book, and I think it's a like parody of Enchanted. And I also love Morgan Matson as an author. I think she writes a lot of great books. She's written a lot of my favorite YA novels, and it just takes me back to a better time. So hey, I'm not mad at it. I think I wanted a specific book. I wanted Scarlet, but it doesn't matter. I can always read books from this off screen. It's just kind of like, actually this is good because it gives one more extra variety. I feel like the video was mostly just classics and fantasy. So it's nice to have a romance, YA, and yeah, that's fun. So I will update you guys a little bit later. I don't know how long it's been since the last clip, but it's currently Monday, so it's technically the last day of this vlog. I'm over halfway through Sense and Sensibility, and I love it. I think it's one of my top favorite classics. It's just a little long, but it's very much just the Pride and Prejudice style. It's also by the same author, and it's just two sisters trying to find their match, but there's a bunch of drama and there's a bunch of other characters, but I really like it. I haven't actually started Prom Chanted, but I think I can read it by the end of the night, but we'll see. But what I want to do right now is open my replacement Kindle, because I don't know if you guys have been hearing about the Kindle Colorsoft. It has some little issues. There's a yellow tint at the bottom of the screen, and so I decided to just ask for a replacement and hope that it won't have that issue. And then I'm also putting tempered glass on it, which will make it kind of look like a phone and have like that smooth look. And I'm really curious to see how that will look, and I'm excited. So I'm gonna try that out. I'm gonna open this up. Let's hope that it is actually normal and better than my current version. Oh yeah, by the way, I did get new hair. I just didn't mention it because I forgot. It's been a while. Yeah. So it's loading right now. I just love the Colorsoft. I know people are hating on it because of the tint, but it still to me functions like a normal paperwhite. It's just that little thing. And people are talking about dark mode, but you can technically turn it to dark. You can make the pages dark, and I don't really care about dark mode for the whole Kindle, so that's just my personal preference, and I'm just like fine with this model. Okay, so unfortunately this one is actually kind of worse than my current version. It's a little bit darker. It is at 50% and this one's at 96%, but it's just slightly grayer. Like, it's hard to explain it. And then the yellow tint is still very much there. So I think I'm just gonna send this one back. I just don't really like how it looks here. So I think I'm just gonna put the tempered glass on my current Kindle and call it a day. A little disappointed. I understand now why the ratings are so low, just because it seems like something that could be fixed, but it's just like a little minor thing that they haven't really fixed, and they still don't know the problem or how to solve it. So I'm gonna just leave this one. I'm wondering though if they'll make me, I think I'll just plug it in for now, just see. And I don't know if they're gonna make me return the old one because that's the model and there might be like a model number. So I'm gonna do that, but we're just gonna plug this in and then check tonight and see if there's like a difference. But yeah, I'm gonna put the tempered glass on my original one and probably just keep it. I like that look, so let's see how that works out. Okay guys, it is officially Tuesday night and I have finished this vlog. So that means I read Prom Chanted and I also finished Sense and Sensibility. And so I'm gonna start with Prom Chanted because I read it in the morning. I was falling asleep every couple of minutes because it was like early-ish in the morning, but that was not for me. I gave it a 2.5. It's basically a play on Enchanted where the main character has just broken up with her boyfriend and then they had this plan for prom that now it's not there because she doesn't have him anymore. So she just tags along as a third wheel with her best friend and her girlfriend. but the girlfriend brings along some guy, so they have a little bit of like an enemy situation. They go to Disneyland before prom, like they always plan to do, and then they end up in the Sleeping Beauty story, and when they go into one of those like fake castles, and then they end up in the real story. And so basically the rest of the book is them trying not to change that story because they don't want to ruin, you know, what exists in the world. And honestly, I don't think it was executed well. I like the concept, but I didn't like either of the characters. I didn't like their romance. I think the Sleeping Beauty romance was executed a little bit better, and that was a background thing. I think the pacing was really off, because if you know the Sleeping Beauty story, you know that it's a big deal. Like the spindle thing is a big deal. And that whole situation happens so late in the book that the rest of the book was just them at the cottage talking to Aurora and the fairies, and just spending way too much time in that setting, that it was just so slow. And the book is this thin, so to drag out a book like that just aggravated me a little bit. So wasn't for me, but I can still appreciate the concept, and I still like Morgan Matson as an author. Now for Sense and Sensibility, I gave that one a 4.25, and I just had such a fun time. Listened to it on audiobook, and it did take me a couple days, but it was worth it. And it's just so wholesome, you know? It's just a little story about these two sisters who have moved. They're in London, they're living in London at this new estate, and there's just a lot of stories about their experiences with the men that they want as their husbands, and just how that plays out, and how there are other characters in their lives, other people in their lives that may change what they thought they knew about the person. And so there's a lot of being tested and seeing if they will be able to just last with that person. I don't know if I explained that really well, but I really had a fun time. I think the characters really come to life in Jane Austen books. I've only read Pride and Prejudice and this one, but now I'm gonna take Persuasion back to college, and then I'm gonna get the special edition of Emma. I don't know why I don't have it, because Clueless is my favorite movie, my favorite rom-com movie, and just favorite movie of all time. And Clueless is based off of Emma. She wrote Emma, but I didn't end up getting it when I went to Barnes & Noble. So definitely getting it. I love these covers, and Persuasion is my favorite, obviously, because it's pink, and pink is my whole thing. But I'm so excited. This is a little shorter, which is actually kind of nice. Like, it won't be as long of a audiobook. Probably gonna start all of this either in March or end of February, because for February, I like to read mostly books by Black authors for Black History Month. Yeah, I really liked Sense and Sensibility, and I think Eleanor, especially, who is the older sister, she just was relatable. I really understood her as a character, and just her hiding her feelings because she wants to be there for her younger sisters. And it's not that I do this all the time, but it's just this idea of you need to step up and be there and deal with their grief before you can deal with yours, or before you can show the world that you're dealing with that. So I really enjoyed Sense and Sensibility. It was a perfect way to end off this vlog, even though it was technically a week and a day. So we will count it. But that is all for today's video. I don't want to go any longer. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe. My little schedule will slow down, but I will still be on Instagram, potentially TikTok, and I want to do blogging, so long form content. So if you want to keep up with me, follow me on those, because the YouTube thing is something that I love to do, but I don't have all the tools and the equipment right now to be consistent everywhere. But if you made it this far, I appreciate you. I love it. And I am just glad that I got to do this. I love the TBR jar. I'm gonna bring it to college and use it and just read my Kindle. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye.